Hey, how's it going, seventh graders? This is the lesson on the beginning of feudalism, or what is feudalism, and this is for my classes that meet on Monday, October the 19th, and on Tuesday, October the 20th. So this is the module that you guys will get into. Now, of course, the dates will be different for my Tuesday class and my Monday class, but I haven't seen the Tuesday class yet, so you guys will still share the same video. But make sure that you do your attendance. Make sure that you do your bell ringer as well. Get those things done. Bell ringers are worth points. There should be pretty easy points because most of the time they're just review of what we've already talked about. So make sure you guys go ahead and get those things done for me, all right? So let's go ahead and get into the presentation. And remember, if you want the full, complete lecture, 100%, you need to make sure you come to those Zoom meetings to get them live. This is just the abridged version. So again, we're just going to review through we're going to do a review of the last class. We are also going to talk about the bell ringer a little bit, and then we're going to get into what feudalism is, and then we have a reading and graphic organizer. Okay, so remember at the end of this unit, hopefully you'll be able to answer the question, how did the church influence the Middle Ages? But today's supporting question, how did the feudal system develop? So that's going to be the question that you will hopefully be able to answer, okay? On your bell ringer, remember to write incomplete sentences to get full credit. And why were monasteries important to medieval Europe? This was in your lesson from last week. Hopefully you guys remember that. If not, maybe you need to go double check. Go back and reread through the module and go ahead and get those answers, all right? That way you can get your full points on your bell ringer. So this gives us that breakdown. Remember, there were three really big groups or important groups in the Catholic Church. You have the Pope, then you have your priest, and then you have your monks. You can always pause this to read more. I'm just going to give you the highlights. You can pause it and read through exactly what the slide says for your full review. Now, some of the main people in the Catholic Church were the monks. They would have been the ones that would have done a lot of the work with the people. They would have taken in orphans and helped the elderly and provided shelter for travelers, helped provide medicine and things like that to people. So they did a lot of things as well as help people learn their faith as well. So that's always an important thing. So there's your dad joke of the day. Why don't eggs tell jokes? They'd crack each other up. That's a pretty good one. Thank you to Miss Henry for that. So feudalism. Let's go ahead and get into what feudalism looks like. So feudalism, we've seen this type of chart before. You should have seen it last year when you guys talked about ancient civilizations. A lot of times, especially in things like Egypt, but definitely in Rome and in Greece and places like that, most societies have a feudal structure that looks like this. And it says, which group in this diagram was the vassal to the lords? Okay, so when you look at this, vassals to the lords would be the knights, correct? Because here's your lords, they're the people below the king, and their vassals would be the people underneath of them. So it would be the knights, okay, or lesser lords, all right? So this is we also went over this type of thing for the Catholic Church last week because theirs was set up the exact same way where you had the Pope at the top, and then you would have had cardinals and archbishops below them, and then you would have had bishops, and then you would have had priests, and then you would have had monks and nuns at the bottom. There would have been more categories for them, but it would have had the same pyramid shape. So hopefully by the end of this class, you'll be able to answer these three questions. What is feudalism? What role did vassals and knights play in the feudal system? And what were other feudal societies? Because there were other feudal societies. It was not just in Europe. So what was feudalism? Again, you'll be able to read through this, but basically it took the basic organization of Charles Martel and the organization that he had in society. And it was basically an organization that was based off of land and protection, okay, where people would give land in exchange to fight to add protection to the people. So that's the basic concept behind feudalism. Again, read more of this, pause, read through this, okay? What role did vassals and knights play in the feudal system? Okay, so the feudal system was something based off of loyalty and duty among the nobles, okay, which were both lords and vassals. So you could be a lord, but you could be a vassal, someone below a higher lord, okay? So you could be a lord and vassal at the same time. Vassals served for the lords of a higher ranking. And in return, they usually received something in return for being a vassal. Usually they received land. And in exchange, you would help fight, and you would also get stuff from the land. All right. You also had knights. Knights were usually vassals that would fight on horseback. They used armor and spears, and because of some innovations that came about, such as that you'll see in your reading, such as stirrups, it helped them to be very, very effective fighters between 700 AD and 1200 AD. And other feudal societies, so not only in Europe, but also in Japan, they also had a feudal society, but instead of knights, we called their warriors samurais. And they were very similar to knights in the fact that they were based off of loyalty, and they were loyal to their lord and fought for their lord. In exchange, they were given land. Samurais wore armor and fought on horseback, similar to what a knight would have done in medieval Europe. So again, this was just the overview of what our presentation would have been. Now we're going to get into what the assignment is. And it's going to be a reading assignment in which you're going to read from a section and in a textbook. So we have our reading and in our module. So that's how you get to the reading. I'm going to go ahead and just open up the notes as well. The graphic organizer, which is a 12-point assignment. So you want to make sure you get this thing completed. What you're going to do is we are going to provide a main idea, and you're going to come up with some supporting details for that main idea once this actually pulls up. And we're having trouble earlier. Sometimes it does not always want to pull up. So I'm going to close out of it and see if I can get this thing to pull up a little faster. Let's try this one more time. All right, so now as this is pulling up, you will see. You're going to hopefully be able to answer this question right here. What were the different duties of each of the groups that made up the feudal society? You're going to analyze the text structure as your literacy skill. Use what you have read to complete the table for each of the main ideas. Provide 2 or 3 supporting details. The first one has been completed for you. So as we read through, what is feudalism? So we're going to read through this stuff, and then from that, you're going to complete your notes, and this one has been done for you. So feudalism becomes the new social order in Europe. So we have that main idea. What we have to do is we have to provide evidence, usually 2 or 3 sentences. So what we put down to support this main idea is landowning nobles governed and protected those who in return provided services such as farming, producing crops, and joining the army in battle. The center of the feudal territory would be the castle instead of a city. Okay. A lot of times these feudal manors is what we call them, worked a lot like a little small town in which they provided almost all the things that they needed within that one little unit within the town. So almost everything they needed was provided for that right from their manor. Okay. So now what you're going to do for the next 3 is you are going to be able to support this main idea. So the next one is feudalism was based on the loyalty and the power of armored knights. So you come here, the role of vassals and knights. You're going to read through this. It's a fairly short section. And then you're going to write a couple words in here, a couple sentences, summary that supports this main idea. So find facts that support that feudalism was based on loyalty and the power of the knights. Okay. And then the next one, the manorial system, serfs were hard workers with little freedom. So you're going to come in this section here about the manorial society or system, and you're going to read through about the serfs and what made them hardworking and loyal to the land. All right. You're going to find 2, 3, 4 sentences about that right there. And then you're going to go to the last one. Technology increased the way of farming. And you can see this last section. How did farming improve? And I will tell you, each one of these paragraphs talks about 1 or 2 things that helped improve farming. So you're just going to write those down in your graphic organizer. Okay. So that's what you need to do for your 12-point homework assignment. So as always, if you have any questions, you need to reach out to me through the inbox, and I will get back with you, or you can always set up a time to meet with me during my office hours. So hopefully I'll see you guys in the next class. See you guys later.